What are some green flags early on in dating that the relationship should become serious? Early in our dating days, I was on a train with my now husband. The inspector was checking our tickets while we were about to pull away from the station when my husband spotted a woman come running down the platform. He pointed this out to the inspector, who stuck his arm out the window and held the train until she got on. My husband was so casual about it. Didn't he think anything of it really? And it was a small action, but one that likely made her day better. I thought it said a lot about his character that he'd help out a stranger who didn't even know it. I was right. He is still that kind of guy. This reminds me of my husband. He always offers to help people with heavy bags or strollers on escalators, stairs, etc. if they look like they might need help. He is not a big guy, so often I think people are sometimes taken aback. But the way he casually asks and then hauls, but for others has always just blown me away. He sounds lovely. He is amazing. This was one of the most romantic things my husband did when we were early-ish in our relationship. He does not even remember it or think it was a big deal, but it was a huge green flag for me. I was preparing to move to a new apartment and had a ton of stuff going on in my life, including trying to coordinate moving out with expensive heat treatment for bed bugs that my whole landlord refused to be involved with. I was super stressed and drained, and when I was cleaning the fridge, one of the shelves inside literally shattered. I was basically beside myself and so frustrated because I knew that said a whole landlord was going to screw me on my security deposit now after all I put up with. So I vented to my husband, then boyfriend, and was basically just like, I give up. Everything is the worst. The next day he let me know that he had looked up my fridge model, found the shelf as a standalone piece, and ordered it, and it would be there in 2 days, or whatever. I cried. I was so grateful. I was so overwhelmed and emotionally exhausted over the bed bugs and moving and everything else, and the fact that he saw that and just took something off my plate and handled it was such a relief. It showed me what a supportive partner he could be, and it was just what I needed. Also, when my parents' dog, which I would grown up with, got old and stopped being able to jump onto his favorite chair, my husband then boyfriend built a ramp for the dog so he could still get up there to sit with my mom, and he matched it to her decor on purpose. These were all things he just felt like, well, of course, it was needed about, but they reinforced what a caring, thoughtful, loving, true partner he was. He still seeks out ways to do little things to make my life easier all the time. Many years later, obviously these examples are specific, but hopefully you see the overall green flag qualities they showed. I had a similar moving stress to the maximum situation with my now husband. He looked up. "Are you crying?" Me. Crying over something so small and ridiculous. Can only nod yes. He immediately fixed said small ridiculous thing. Together 10 years. Still does this. Still makes me happy. I love this. Exactly. He always finds ways to make my life easier, and I hope he knows how much I appreciate it. I'm happy that you have found the same. They genuinely like being able to do things to help you out and vice versa. Big evidence on the vice versa part though. The great feeling of helping someone out can fade fast once you realize you're being manipulated. Definitely do not be a doormat. My husband and I have endless conversations. There is nothing we cannot talk about. Nothing. The first time we ever chatted on the phone we talked for 6 hours. We have been together for 15 years and still talk every day. Several times a day. We love our breakfast time because we chat after eating and really enjoy each other's company. We love talking no matter where we are. And since he also works from home, we work together. There is lots of times we are saying nothing, just enjoying being around each other. But I love that we can talk about anything we want and it does not descend into an argument. We could talk or not talk for hours and still find things to not talk about. We both like soup. Taking embarrassing shit in stride. This was pretty literal for me. Sorry, this is my second post. I used to have ulcerative colitis really severely, which led to me shitting myself far more often than one should shit themselves in their early 20s. When I first started seeing my husband, who has ASD, We would drive from campus to my apartment, and I would be like, white knuckle concentrating on not shitting myself in his car, run up the stairs, usually barely making it to the bathroom, before he walked through the door. One night I did not make it. I'm basically hiding in the bathroom and turn on the shower BC, it is a gross mess. On the other side of the door, he is all, why are you always so mad at me when we drive to your place? Did I say something? He would been reading my try not to shit face as I'm angry, so I came clean and admitted I would just shit myself, preparing for him to sort of back out slowly and end things as quickly as would be polite. This was within our first 2 months. His response instead, oh, so you just shit yourself? Where are your jeans? In the garbage. That's silly. Jeans are expensive. The laundromat is locked for the night. But do you have a bucket or something? We can soak them overnight and wash them tomorrow. You are really not grossed out? Shrug. Not like you could help it. Just like, talk to me. I thought you were mad. Tell me what is going on. You know. I had feared that exact scenario since I started having symptoms, and my future hubs just rolled with it. Years later, when I had my colectomy, he bathed me in the hospital. After that, when he had to have a circumcision 25, I looked after his stitches, changed his bandages several times a day, and we laughed about how gross stuff was. He is seriously the best. There's a relationship I was in for quite some time with a girl who had Crohn's to the extent of having an ostomy bag. She was so hesitant to share with me. Not even her closest friends knew except one. But alas, something like that you can keep secret forever from a partner you plan to be intimate with. She didn't want people to look at or treat her differently, to think she couldn't do things, and I don't blame her in many ways. I had and still do have so much respect for that woman. It did change my opinion about her, but in the sense I felt it made her shine more. She was very strong and soft-hearted, caring, determined, and ambitious. I had historically always thought to myself, sadly, that I didn't know how people could happily build lives with those who may have lifelong less than ideal situations like that. It really bothered me that I thought that too, and I am sure in some ways she had the same fears of how will someone like me. After meeting her and getting to know her, it kinda just became clear. It never felt like a burden. It never felt annoying. It honestly in many ways made me like her more, because it was a testament to her character. It was just a part of life, and life was still okay overall. Heck, even while intimate things like the ostomy bag never stood out, it was there sure, but in my head it just wasn't something that mattered. I just saw her, and she was beautiful regardless. It's unfortunate it didn't work out for other reasons, but I really value that relationship. She taught me so much about acceptance, better understanding the lack of knowledge we have of everyone else's world, and also about myself. Man, typing this out, I think I need to revisit those lessons. I absolutely love this. You really can value a relationship, even though it has ended. I still think fondly of my exes, and I'm grateful for the lessons I learned from them. I hate that shows or movies often portray ex-relationships as scorched earth, rather than an experience that's run its course. This exactly. You did not date them for no reason. There was a reason. It did not work out, so remember them and learn from it. Both people genuinely enjoying the conversation, being attentive to each other, no negative attitude either. To add to this, asking questions. If you re-enjoying the conversation, because you re-dominating the talking, it makes people turned off. Ask them questions, expect them to ask you some in return. Show interest in them by asking questions about things they seem energized. This is huge in developing good conversations. Okay, but they keep asking me questions, and I start feeling like I am talking too much. I lines try and ask them things, but I lines have to keep at it a bit more. Maybe I am misreading, but people seem intrigued to listen and ask about what I am saying. Or am I just a cock laughing my butt off? My wife does 90% of the talking. She likes to talk. It's how she thinks. I enjoy listening. I like asking questions and understanding. I think it's important that you find someone who complements how you communicate. That's not the same for all people. About 4 months into my relationship, I got injured. There was a chance that I would not be able to walk again. My then girlfriend, now wife, said, "Do not worry, it is going to be okay. We can figure this out either way." I'm okay now. But just knowing she was going to stay with me, no matter what, was huge. We have been together 8 years now. We have our challenges, but at the end of the day we both know we are there for each other. So, were you able to, walk? They said there was a chance they wouldn't be able to walk, instead of saying they lost the ability to walk. So I am assuming they still can. Yeah. But I think the question is, could he walk? If they respond well when you are dealing with a crisis situation, or when you are seriously ill, or when your family member is seriously ill, they may be a keeper. In other words, how do they interact with you during times of stress? Does their presence, behavior help? Do they make it worse? Or do they make themselves scarce? Isolation was doing a number on my relationship for a hot minute. Cooped up, not seeing friends, nothing to get excited for, just generally feeling down and irritable. My partner and I were bickering more often about stupid little things, and we just were not feeling great about things for a bit. Then we went on a drive down a forested dirt road to scope out possible campsites for the weekend, and ended up losing our brakes entirely, which had been inspected the week before but evidently not properly, followed shortly after by a flat tire. Then the spare also ended up being flat. Reminder to check your spares regularly. It was getting late and help was on the way to meet us back at the main road, but to get to it we had to get down a steep hill without cell service, with a drop off on one side, with no brakes and a tire so flat it was basically hanging off the rims. It was not a good situation. He literally had to go down the hill and park with the emergency brake on to keep us from gaining speed. We were super in sync for it, kept our cool, talked our way through it, and all was well. Afterwards, we both felt way better about our relationship, because when shit got real, we were partners working through it together. We worked through the little things and we have been doing great. My wife and I like to go kayaking on our anniversary. The first time we went was when I was 3 days out of detox. We're not married then, still sober. We just showed up, rented a kayak, and headed out, with no regard for the tights. It was so much work, especially getting through tight bridges and working against the tights. It was a great day, and we had to work together to keep from both getting exhausted at once and losing groundwater. Pointers. I feel you on this story. It was a defining point in our relationship. I felt like shit, still in minor withdrawal. She was worried about me, just trying to keep my mind off drugs, alcohol. But during those few hours, it was just us, working together to literally stay afloat. 5 years later, she still has the selfie we took in the kayak as her background. Her explanation is that in a rough time, a hard day, we both were truly happy. Big smiles and all. I wish you and your partner the best. How good is their company during a drive, or when there is nothing to do? My future wife and I found that we love just spending time together. We could talk for hours in a car during a drive. Sometimes the drive was more interesting than where we were going. A few weeks into our relationship, we went through a drive-through and she spontaneously unwrapped and rewrapped my burger so I could eat it while driving with clean hands. I knew I was going to marry her. Just over a week from now it will be 23 years. Shit, my wife and I can drive for 3 hours without saying a word. She might jump out of the car if I wanted to talk for 3 hours and vice versa. Quiet time is fun time. I was going to say, comfortable silence is also healthy. Sometimes you just want a nap or a cuddle or to read a book or something. You genuinely enjoy one another's company during dull moments. Life's full of them, and you are going to want a partner who you can enjoy them with. I think silence is underappreciated in relationships in general, not just in romantic relationships. There is an oceanic feeling when you are with a good friend just quietly taking in the whole world around you. Oceanic is such a good word to describe this. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.